In today's video, I want to run through, is it still possible to get a house for 100, 350k in the Brisbane area? But really should defy a house. It's not going to be a house. The thing is now, because the Brisbane market has gone up so much, it's near impossible to get a house for 350k. Even blocks of land are selling for more than 350k. So the next best thing is townhouses. So the way that I've actually worked this back and got into townhouses and 350k specifically is because over 2023, I've helped 3 first home buyers buy properties, and their budgets were all 350k. And in each scenario, we looked in these 3 core areas as well. So I was just able to reverse it. But long story short, for them, they didn't mind that they had to buy a townhouse. It was just within their budget, and they were happy that they were close to where they needed to be. One guy, he was actually downsizing. He came over from Melbourne. Another girl, she lived here in Brisbane. She was already renting, but she wanted to own her own place. She just wanted to be close to the Pacific Highway. Another girl, she moved over from Melbourne. She was moving over from Melbourne, so she wanted to have a place already and just to secure a property. She didn't own a property in Melbourne, so this was actually her first property. Now she's got something that's secured, and I think since buying it, and it was only about 3 months ago, it was 320 at the time. I reckon it could easily sell for 360. At the moment, I'm helping a first home buyer come up from Sydney, and she's got a budget of 550k, and we're looking for townhouses again. And it's just, it's a crazy market. Like, I'm going to open homes, and I'm seeing at least, a group of 10 people, and they're having, 2 or 3 offers per property, and it's slowly growing over the weeks. So I'm just going to jump on. I'm just going to really share some locations, open up the screen, and give some commentary on what you can buy. But I guess maybe we can say what type of, not house, but townhouse can you buy in the Brisbane market. Before I jump into the areas, I guess the question is, do you think there's going to be capital growth for these if you're looking as an investor? And I truly believe there will be, because the thing is, the house, it's so expensive to get a house now, in suburbs in Logan and Ipswich in particular. You can't really get a house for under 500k. So people that have a budget of up to 500k, they still want to buy a property. It's not that because they can't get a house, they're just going to stop. So they're going for these townhouses, and then the nice 3-bed 2-bath townhouses are selling for 500 or 450, and it just scales down. It's like a ripple effect. So the lower end of the market is still having growth. There was actually, a suburb that, I would never ever thought of buying, but I ended up helping a downsizer buy there. And, when I went to the open home and seeing the townhouse, it was actually really good value for money in regards to location. This is all going to gentrify over time, but let's jump into it. Let's jump into the areas. So the first place we're going to start with is a little suburb called Woodridge. Woodridge is probably an area I would never have quite brought in for a client. But, if we're able to get a 3-bed 2-bath townhouse in this suburb for under, I think we got it for about 330. So it ended up being really good value for money. What I did was I actually did, shortlist around Slacks Creek, Kingston and Daisy Hill and Springwood, and even across to Browns Plains and Marsden. But the thing is, across this Marsden and Crestmead area, what you'll find is there's a lot of the newer townhouses, and they're already going over 350. So you have to really search around this Woodridge area, Logan Central, Kingston, Slacks Creek, little pocket. And in there, you're going to find, these older style townhouses. But This could rent for easily $450 per week. You get it for $350. It's got a decent yield. $285. Well, that's pretty low. $330 for $285. So that takes us. That's probably our first spot. So in that little pocket, you'll be able to buy a townhouse for under $350K. As an area, there's a ton of infrastructure going through, which I won't jump into, but I guess one of the core things is you can look at with location. I guess as a suburb, it's probably not like the most desirable. Medium income's under 1,200, but the one thing is getting in at a good price. And if you're going to move into it, you're going to be close to the Pacific Highway, which once you jump on the highway, you get into Brisbane and the Gold Coast, and you've got access to pretty much most of Brisbane. Even get onto the highway to get onto the gateway to get to the Sunshine Coast. So location wise, it's perfect. I guess demographic wise, it's probably not the greatest, but it's going to get you into the market, especially if you're buying under $350K. With that budget, there's only one way for that to go, and that's up. So that's the first location, and these are the styles that you'll get. Pretty much now it looks like it's only 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Before, when I was looking at it, you could get 3-bed, 2 baths, but the market's an upwards trend. Look, you got a 3-bed, 1 bath there at the moment, but it's offers over $320. So if you've been shopping, you'll know that that's really going to go for $350 or $350 plus. The other location where you can get under $350K is over in the Red Bank side of town. You can also get in Ipswich, but I also like this little pocket across that's just outside of Springfield Lakes. It's close to the Ipswich Highway or the Centenary Highway, which once you can get on there, you can get on the Logan Highway, and I guess logistically it just connects you to Brisbane and the Gold Coast. The beauty about Brisbane is it's really well connected. There's a ton of infrastructure going into Springfield Lakes, also South Ripley, and just Ipswich in general. It's one of the fastest growing regions across Australia. So we'll jump on and have a quick look at what you get for under $350. You got your 2-bed, 1 bath, nice little villas. These are actually really good. I've helped a couple of downsizers over the years as a buyer's agent, and this is just perfect. When you get to this stage of your life, you just sell your biggest asset and you really don't want to spend much money on your next property. The key factor is just making sure there's no stairs. But here you got your 3-bed, 2 bath. That's pretty good value for money. These townhouses are actually quite big, the 3-bed, 2 baths. You walk through them and they feel like a house. Some decent ones. So you get more bang for buck over in Red Bank. It's pretty obvious, even with the houses. And it's a very fast growing area. Demographic wise, surprisingly, the median income in that area is around 1,500. So it creeps up, and it's got a really low crime rate. So pretty close to Springfield Lakes. Springfield Lakes has like university, shopping centre. It's like a small CBD. They're bringing in the AFL stadium, so there's plenty of reasons why that area has prospects for people that want to actually live there. And we're actually seeing it. Families are choosing to move to Springfield Lakes and the surrounding suburbs. So the next spot, with your $350K budget, it's all the way up in Kalanga. Not even Kalanga, I'd probably say more Kipper Ring. So as you scroll up into Kalanga, townhouses get to around that $550 mark, and I'm shopping around Mango Hill for a client at the moment. She's got $550, and it's a bit of a mission. There's literally no stock, so that's the thing. With a lot of these suburbs, when you really open them up, you can see the listings have dropped off Normally they'd have 60 to 70 listings at a given time. Now there's only like 20 listings. There's like 1/5, but you can see the demand is growing. Like, they would only have 200 views on a property, but now you're seeing upwards of 1,000 views on a property. So 5 times the amount of demand, and there's 1/5 of what there usually would be for supply. So we'll jump into Kipper Ring. And Kipper Ring is where I purchased the townhouse for the client that will eventually move into it down the track, but she's still living in Melbourne. So you got this Fleetwood Drive. So a lot of the townhouses are within this little section, and it's pretty much flood affected. The whole area is flood affected, but when you buy a townhouse, it comes with its own insurances, and that will cover you for that flooding. Obviously, it's a risk at all time, but yeah, it's pretty much all underwater, Kipper. But here we go. You can still get in under 359. They're pretty nice, but again, that's the end of the page. That's it. There's 4. It's I brought her one for around 320k, and that was only a couple of months ago, and it's already jumped up 20 grand. So that's already 10% in a few months. But there are still deals out there. The tricky part is when you're looking for a townhouse is that most of them have tenants in them. So to find one that's vacant is probably the next biggest hassle if you're going to move into it. But if it's just going to be an investment, it could be a good townhouse just to have. It will yield really well, and then if you eventually want to move into Brisbane, you've got an asset at Brisbane. You could you don't necessarily have to move into it. You could eventually sell it. But that's my wrap up for the 3 locations where you can buy for under 350k. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help. And that's a wrap. I've been buying properties across the Brisbane market for over the last 4 years. So if you want to learn more about the Brisbane property market, or you want to learn about how to find good locations and build your property portfolio, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, give it a like.